Montana Territory, January 1879. The stagecoach lurched through blinding snow toward a ranch Ayanna Rivers had never seen. Inside, her wrists bore the faint marks where leather restraints had held her during the contract signing 3 days prior. She was merchandise. She was a bride. The contract price, her family's survival. And she was neither willing nor broken. At 19, Ayanna Rivers was sold to a stranger with 5 motherless children. What happened in that Montana winter would be whispered about for 50 years. The number sat on the contract like a brand. $300. Enough to bury her father and keep her mother and younger siblings alive through an Arizona winter that showed no mercy to Apache families living on the edge of white settlements. The attorney's office in Tucson smelled of whiskey and old leather. Adobe walls cracked from years of desert heat. Dust motes danced in the January sunlight streaming through dirty windows. The pen scratched across paper with a sound that seemed too loud, too final. Ayanna sat rigid in the wooden chair, spine straight despite exhaustion from 3 sleepless nights of grief. Her father had been dead 10 days. John Rivers, Anglo trader who'd married an Apache woman when everyone told him it would destroy his business. Consumption had taken him slowly, coughing blood for 8 months, while Ayanna and her mother, Nayland, tried every remedy they knew. White medicine failed. Apache medicine eased his pain, but couldn't save him. In the end, he died with his Apache wife holding one hand and his half-breed daughter holding the other. The attorney cleared his throat. Mr. Garrett was 50, soft from town living, uncomfortable with the brown-skinned woman sitting across from him. He'd handled plenty of mail-order bride contracts, but never one involving Indian blood. "Miss Rivers," he said, without meeting her eyes, "if you're going to proceed, we'll need your signature." Ayanna looked at the contract one more time. Domestic service and wifely duties for minimum 1 year to Gideon Thornwood, Silver Creek Ranch, Willow Springs, Montana Territory. $300 paid in advance. $250 to her mother. $50 to Mr. Garrett for facilitating the arrangement. She picked up the pen. Her hand didn't shake. But before she signed, she spoke. Her voice was level, carrying the particular quality of someone who'd learned English from a white father and Apache from a full-blood mother. Each word came out clear and separate. "I will cook, clean, and raise children. I will not be beaten. I will not share a bed unless I consent. Write it in the contract." Mr. Garrett laughed. It was a nervous sound. "He won't agree to those terms. You're bought merchandise, girl. You don't dictate." "Write it," Ayanna said. Her eyes never left his face. "Or I walk out that door and you lose your $50. The foreman who'd come as proxy for Gideon Thornwood spoke from the corner. Ezra Hawkins was 60, grizzled, with the bearing of a man who'd seen the elephant and lived to tell about it. Confederate cavalry, she'd guessed from his accent and the way he carried himself. "Boss said those exact terms," Ezra said quietly. "He don't force women. Never has. Sign it, Garrett." The attorney added the amendment in cramped handwriting. Ayanna signed in English first. Ayanna Rivers. Then she added something small in the margin. A tiny Apache symbol her grandmother had taught her. A bird with a broken wing, beginning to heal. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind, speaking Apache. "The white bear is not good, but sometimes the bear protects the cave." Outside the office, her mother waited. Nayland was 50, but looked 70. The reservation years had been hard before John Rivers married her and brought her to Tucson. Now she faced returning to that life, this time with 2 younger children and no husband. The women embraced without words for a long moment. Then Nayland pressed a leather bundle into Ayana's hands. Inside were dried sage, yarrow, willow bark, and a small peyote button wrapped separately. A medicine bundle, the kind Apache healers carried. She also gave Ayana a silver bracelet with a turquoise stone. "Your grandmother's. She was medicine woman for our band. They can take your name, not your blood." They spoke in Apache then. The words felt like home in Ayana's mouth. "Shash Nakai," Nayland said. "The white bear." "Nishli," Ayana replied. "I hear you. Don't tame him, teach him. There is power in teaching. What if he won't learn? Then you survive anyway. We always do." Ayana's younger brother Samuel was 14, all sharp angles and barely contained rage. He'd wanted to fight when their father died, wanted to fight the white doctors who wouldn't treat Apache patients, wanted to fight the town that looked at them like vermin, wanted to fight everything. "They're buying you like cattle," he said, fists clenched, "like a horse." "No," Ayana said firmly. "I'm buying your life with mine. There's honor in that. I should protect you." She gripped his shoulders. "You will, by staying alive, by remembering who you are. When you're old enough, come find me. I'll need you then." Her sister Kaya was 11. She clung to Ayana's braid and cried without making sound. The Apache way. Grief was private. Ayana taught her the winter stars in their language. "Hajine, when you see them, know I see them too." "Will you come back?" Kaya whispered. "I don't know, but I'll always be your sister." The stagecoach left at dawn on January 8th. Ayana did not look back. Apache teaching said to face forward, not backward. The past was smoke. Only the path ahead mattered. 4 days in a stagecoach with 3 other passengers. A merchant who looked at her with distaste. A preacher's wife who clutched her Bible tighter whenever Ayana shifted position. And a cavalry sergeant with a scarred face who recognized what she was within the first hour. On the second day, crossing from Arizona into New Mexico, the sergeant spoke. "You're Apache." It wasn't a question. Ayana met his eyes. "Half. My father was white." "Your people killed my brother. Apache Pass, 67. Ayana didn't flinch. "My people were defending their children. Your people were invading. Who's the killer?" The merchant broke the tension before it could escalate into something worse. But the sergeant watched her for the rest of the journey. Not with hatred exactly. Something more complicated. Recognition, maybe. Warrior to warrior, even if one warrior was a 19-year-old girl in a calico dress. At night, when the others slept or pretended to sleep, Ayana read the letter that had come with the contract. Mr. Gideon Thornwood had written it himself. The handwriting was educated but forceful. Each letter pressed hard into the paper. "Miss Rivers, I am told you are educated and strong. I need both. My children need a mother who will not crumble under hardship. Montana winters are cruel. Grief is crueler. If you can endure both, there is a place for you here. This is not a love match. It is survival, mine and yours. If you can accept that, we will manage." No mention of love. No mention of beauty or comfort or even basic kindness. Just survival and endurance and hardship. Good, Ayana thought. Honest men she could work with. It was the liars who were dangerous. The landscape changed as they traveled north. Arizona desert gave way to New Mexico plains. Colorado mountains rose like teeth against the sky. And finally, Montana, where winter held the land in a grip so tight that breathing the air felt like swallowing knives. The temperature dropped 40 degrees between Colorado and Montana. Ayana's thin shawl, adequate for Arizona winters, became a joke. The preacher's wife, in a moment of grudging humanity, gave her a wool blanket. "Can't have you freezing before you get there," she muttered. Willow Springs appeared on the fourth day like a cluster of toys scattered on white cloth. 15 buildings, maybe 200 souls. One church steeple rising above false front stores. Everyone who was outside stopped and stared when the stagecoach rolled down the single street. Ezra Hawkins waited beside a wagon, frost already forming in his beard, despite the early afternoon hour. His eyes assessed Ayana the way a man might assess a horse, calculating, measuring, determining value. "Ayana Rivers?" "Yes." "You Apache?" "Half. My father was white. Does that void the contract?" Something that might have been respect flickered across his weathered face. "Boss didn't say nothing about voiding."
"Mace, pick you up. So I'm picking you up." She climbed into the wagon. The wood was so cold it burned through her skirt. The ride to Silver Creek Ranch took 90 minutes. The sun was already low, winter darkness coming fast at 4:30 in the afternoon. Ezra drove in silence for the first 30 minutes. Then, as if he'd made some internal decision, he started talking. "Fought Apache in Arizona, 63 to 65. Ayana waited. Men like Ezra said what they meant eventually, if you gave them space. "Your people fought back," he continued. "It was their land." She turned to look at him. "Yes, it was." Long silence. Then, "Reckon we took it anyway. Orders are orders." "You kill Apache?" "Yes." "Children too?" "No, never children. Wasn't that kind of war for me." Another silence. Ayana felt something shift between them. Not friendship, but perhaps the beginning of mutual respect. Ezra told her about the children. Thomas, 9 years old, thought he was man of the house since his mother died. Rose, 7, hadn't spoken a word in 2 years. William, 5, scared of everything now. Grace, 3, too young to understand much beyond absence. Eleanor, 18 months, cried all night, and nobody could soothe her. "What about Mr. Thornwood?" Ayana asked. Ezra's hands tightened on the reins. "Good man, fair boss, pays on time, doesn't beat his hands." "But?" "But he died inside when Margaret did. Just breathing out of habit now. Works dawn to midnight. Don't talk unless necessary. Don't smile. Don't live." "How did she die?" "Consumption. Took 8 months. Spring of 77. Ezra paused. "She was gentle, kind, everything a lady should be. Problem is, gentle don't survive out here alone. He needs strong. He needs someone who won't break." Ezra glanced at her. "You break?" "Not yet. Don't plan to start." Silver Creek Ranch appeared as the sun touched the mountains. The main house was 2 stories of solid log construction. Smoke rose from the chimney. Lamplight glowed in windows. It should have looked welcoming. Instead, it looked like something holding its breath. The barn was large and well built, better maintained than the house, Ayana noticed. Fence posts leaned at angles. Porch steps sagged. The winter garden plot was overgrown with dead weeds. A broken wagon wheel leaned against the barn wall. "Place is dying slow," Ezra muttered, "like the man who owns it." 5 children stood on the porch, watching, waiting. The oldest boy had his arms crossed. The youngest girl held tight to another girl's skirt, and one of them, the blonde one, stood absolutely still, with tears running down her face, but making no sound. Then the barn door opened, and Gideon Thornwood stepped into the fading light. He was tall, 6'2" at least, broad shoulders that spoke of years of hard work. Dark hair shot through with premature silver, full beard, neatly trimmed despite everything else being neglected. A scar across his left cheekbone, pale against weathered skin. Cavalry saber, Ayanna guessed. She'd seen enough veterans to recognize the mark. His eyes were gray, flat, empty as winter sky. He stopped 10 feet from the wagon and simply looked at her. Ayanna looked back. She did not drop her gaze, did not look away. 30 seconds of silence stretched between them like a test. "You're Indian." It was a statement, not a question. His voice was deep, rough from disuse. "Half Apache," Ayanna said evenly. The contract didn't specify complexion requirements. It specified suitable for raising white children. Children are children. Grief doesn't see color. Neither does hunger or cold. I can cook, clean, teach, and heal. Your children need those skills. What color I am doesn't change that." Something flickered in those dead eyes. Surprise, maybe, or the ghost of interest. "You talk back. You want a servant or a mother for your children? Servants follow orders. Mothers speak truth." From the porch, the oldest boy shouted, "Papa, send her back. She's Indian. She'll scalp us in our sleep." Gideon ignored him. "Can you cook?" "Yes." "Clean?" "Yes." "Teach reading and numbers?" "Better than most white teachers." "Handle Montana winters?" Ayanna gestured to herself, to the snow, to the fact that she'd traveled 4 days in January from Arizona and was still standing. "You tell me if I can handle winter." The corner of his mouth might have moved. A ghost of something that wasn't quite a smile but wasn't nothing either. "1 month," Gideon said. "Trial period. Children accept you, you stay the year per contract. They don't accept you, or you can't handle the work. You go back with $50 in stage fare. Fair? And if I decide I don't want to stay? Then you leave with the same. I won't hold anyone against their will." "Fair. Do I get a bed, or should I sleep in the barn?" This time it was definitely almost a smile. "You get Margaret's room. Hasn't been touched in 2 years." "Then I'll touch it. Thank you." Inside, the house smelled of grief and neglect. Unwashed dishes, stale smoke, sour milk. The particular odor of men and children living without a woman's hand. Dust thick on every surface, toys scattered, laundry piled in corners, floors unswept for so long that the dirt had become part of the grain. The oldest boy blocked the doorway with his body. "This was Mama's house. You don't belong here." "This is a house that needs a mother," Ayanna said calmly. "Your mama can't be here. I can. Move aside." "No." Gideon's voice cut through. "Tom, move. Now." The boy stepped aside, but the betrayal on his face was sharp as broken glass. Thomas went outside, and Ayanna heard the barn door slam. The blonde girl, Rose, stood in the parlor, staring at Ayanna. Tears ran silently down her cheeks, but she made no sound, didn't even blink. It was the most unsettling thing Ayanna had seen in a long time. She knelt to Rose's eye level. "Hello, Rose. I'm Ayanna. You don't have to talk to me, but I see you." Rose just stared, silent, drowning. Another boy, younger, hid under the kitchen table. Only his eyes were visible in the shadows. The 3-year-old girl approached slowly, fascinated. She reached out and touched Ayana's braid. "Pretty," Grace whispered. "Like horsetail, but softer." Ayana smiled, her first smile of the day. "My mother braided this morning before I left. It's how Apache women wear their hair." "What's Apache?" "My people, from far away, where it's warm." "Can you teach me?" "Yes, if your papa allows." "I allow," Gideon said from the doorway. From upstairs came the sound that had probably been constant for weeks. A baby screaming, high-pitched, desperate.
The sound of a child in pain that no one knew how to fix. "She's been like that for hours," Gideon said. His voice carried the weight of months of helplessness. "Won't stop, won't eat, won't sleep. Nobody can calm her." "May I try?" "Please." Ayana climbed the stairs. The second floor had 3 bedrooms, one for the boys, one for the girls, and the master bedroom at the end of the hall. The door was closed, dust on the handle. She opened it. Margaret's room was a shrine. The bed was made perfectly, pillows fluffed, quilt smoothed. Dresses hung in the open wardrobe, untouched. A hairbrush on the dresser still held blonde strands. A photograph on the wall showed a beautiful woman with light hair and gentle eyes, smiling beside a younger Gideon who looked like an entirely different man. The room smelled of lavender and dust and stale air. Windows hadn't been opened in 2 years. In the cradle beside the bed, Eleanor screamed. Her face was red, fists clenched, back arched. The sound seemed too large to come from something so small. Ayana picked her up. The baby screamed louder, but Ayana didn't try to soothe her yet. First, she needed to know why. She checked the diaper. Soaked. Probably had been for hours. She checked Eleanor's temperature. Forehead was warm, low fever. She opened the baby's mouth. Gums swollen and red, 2 teeth trying to break through. "Teething," Ayana said aloud. "Pain in gums, wet diaper causing rash, discomfort, not sickness." She called down the stairs. "Mr. Thornwood, I need clean diaper, warm water, clean cloth." Gideon appeared with the items within 2 minutes. He stood in the doorway and watched as Ayana opened her medicine bundle. She took a small piece of willow bark, put it in her own mouth, chewed it until it became paste, then rubbed it gently on Eleanor's inflamed gums. She changed the diaper. The baby was already quieting. Then Ayana wrapped Eleanor in her own shawl, the one that smelled of sage and desert and her mother's hands. She began to sing, an Apache lullaby her grandmother had taught her, wordless humming first, then soft words in a language Gideon had probably never heard. Within 5 minutes, Eleanor quieted. Within 10, her eyes drooped. Within 15, she was asleep. Gideon stood frozen in the doorway. "How did you—" "Willow bark numbs pain. Dry diaper stops skin irritation. Singing gives comfort. And she needed someone calm. Panic feeds panic in babies. Margaret used to sing to her." Ayana looked at him directly. "I'm not your wife, Mr. Thornwood. I can't replace her. But I can still give your children comfort. Is that acceptable?" His voice came out rough. "Yes, that's more than acceptable." He turned to leave, then stopped. "Thank you." 2 words, but they sounded like they'd cost him something to say. Downstairs, Ayana cooked the first meal. She found salted pork, flour, beans, dried apples. Limited supplies, but workable. She made simple stew, cornbread
with a touch of sage from her bundle, and stewed apples with cinnamon. Thomas came in from the barn at Gideon's call. He sat at the table with his arms crossed. "I won't eat Indian food. You probably poisoned it." Ayanna set the bowl in front of him without comment. "Then starve. I cooked. You choose whether to eat. I won't beg you to survive." Gideon's voice cut sharp. "Thomas, eat. Now." The boy ate, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. The food was good, and he was hungry, and he was 9 years old. But he didn't say it was good. Wouldn't give her that. Rose ate steadily, while tears ran down her face. William crept out from under the table and took the bowl Ayanna offered. Grace ate with enthusiasm and asked for seconds. Even Eleanor, in the cradle nearby, slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. After dinner, the children went to bed. Thomas took the younger ones upstairs. Ayanna washed dishes in silence. Gideon stood in the doorway and watched. "You handled Eleanor. Tom said you threatened him." "I didn't threaten. I set a boundary. There's a difference." Margaret was gentle, never raised her voice. "I'm not gentle, Mr. Thornwood. I'm strong. Right now your children need strong. When they heal, I can be gentler, but not yet." Long pause. "All right, we try it your way." He showed her to Margaret's room. "This is yours. I sleep in the bunkhouse with Ezra." "You don't sleep in your own house?" "Can't. Too many ghosts." Ayanna met his eyes. "I don't believe in ghosts, Mr. Thornwood. Only memories. And memories can't hurt you." He laughed. It was a bitter sound. "You're wrong about that." Then he left. Alone in the dead woman's room, Ayanna sat on the bed. The springs creaked. She noticed the diary on the nightstand. She shouldn't read it. It was private. But she opened it anyway. The first entry was dated June 1st, 1876. "Dr. Morrison confirmed my fears. The consumption is in my lungs. He gives me perhaps a year, maybe less. I must prepare Gideon and the children for what's coming. God, please give me strength. And please, send someone to care for them when I'm gone. Send them someone strong." Ayanna closed the diary carefully. She whispered into the dark room, "I'm here now, Margaret. I'll try to be what you asked for." She blew out the lamp, lay down in a dead woman's bed. Outside, wolves howled, closer than comfortable. Montana winter had teeth. Sleep didn't come for hours, and when it did, she dreamed of her grandmother teaching her to heal, teaching her to survive, teaching her that sometimes the white bear protects the cave. Before dawn, there were small footsteps outside her door. A whispered voice, "Are you awake?" Grace stood in the doorway with her blanket. "I had bad dreams. Can I sleep here?" "Yes. Come here." The 3-year-old climbed into bed and curled against Ayanna's side. "You smell different than Mama," Grace said, "but good different. Sleep now, little one." Within minutes the child was breathing deeply, and Ayanna, for the first time since leaving Arizona, felt something that might become hope. One child accepted her. It was a start. The Apache have a saying, "Trust is a seed. It grows slow in frozen ground." In the frozen ground of Silver Creek Ranch, January 1879, Ayanna Rivers planted seeds every day. With each meal cooked, each child tended, each small kindness given without asking for return. Some seeds sprouted, others stayed buried, and in the town of Willow Springs, darker seeds were being planted. Seeds of fear, hatred, and greed. Ayana woke before dawn on her second morning. Apache habit. She'd never needed much sleep, and grief had made her lighter still. The house was cold enough that her breath showed white in the darkness. She dressed quickly and went downstairs. The fire had died to embers. She built it back to life with practiced movements, added kindling, blew gently until flames caught, fed larger pieces until heat began to push back the cold. Then she started coffee and began breakfast. Thomas came down the stairs an hour later. He stopped at the bottom step and stared. "Papa used to do this, before Mama died." "Now I do it," Ayana said, without turning from the stove. "Sit. Eat." She'd made oatmeal with dried apples and cinnamon, coffee for the adults, fresh milk from the cow Ezra had milked earlier. Simple food, but hot and plentiful. After breakfast, she assigned chores. Thomas would help Ezra with the animals and chop kindling. Rose would set the table and fold laundry. William would gather eggs, though someone would need to go with him since he was still afraid. Grace would stay close and help where she could. Thomas stood. "You can't order us around. You're not our mother." "I'm not ordering. I'm organizing. Your father hired me to run this house. Running it means everyone works." "Mama never made us work this hard." Ayana turned to face him fully. "Your mama is dead. I'm alive. I do things differently. Adapt." Gideon's voice came from the doorway. He'd just come in from the barn. "She's right, Tom. Do what she says." The betrayal on Thomas's face was terrible to see. His father taking a stranger's side. The boy turned and ran out to the barn. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. In the barn, Ezra was mucking stalls. He looked up when Gideon entered. "Boy's hurting." "I know." "You taking her side already?" Gideon picked up a pitchfork and started working. "I'm taking the side that keeps this family functioning. Margaret was gentle. It worked when she was healthy. Ayana's different. Maybe that's what we need now." "You trust her?" "Not yet, but I trust that she hasn't run screaming. That's more than I expected." That afternoon, Ayana found Rose in the parlor. The girl stood in front of the piano, staring at it like it might come alive. Dust covered the keys. Sheet music for Amazing Grace sat open on the stand. Rose's fingers hovered over the keys but didn't touch them. Ayana approached slowly. "Your mother played?" Rose nodded without looking away from the piano. "Do you play?" The girl shook her head. "Would you like to learn?" Rose hesitated, then nodded slowly. Ayana sat on the bench and patted the space beside her. After a long moment, Rose sat down. It was the first time she'd chosen to be near Ayana. "I don't play piano," Ayana said. "We didn't have them where I grew up. But I sing. Different songs. Want to hear?" Another nod. Ayana began to hum. The Apache lullaby her grandmother had taught her. Wordless at first, just melody. Then soft words in a language Rose had never heard. The translation would have been, "Sleep, little bird. The stars watch over you. Sleep, little bird. The earth holds you safe." Rose's hand moved slowly across the bench. It came to rest near Ayana's hand on the keys. Didn't quite touch, but close. Closer than she'd been to anyone since her mother died. Progress. William's fear was different. He refused to go to the outhouse alone. When Ayana asked why, he said there were bears. "No bears in winter," she told him. "They sleep in caves. Papa said Mama got ate by sickness. Ate her all up inside." Ayana understood then. The child had taken a metaphor and made it literal. Now everything that could eat was dangerous. She knelt to his level. Sickness isn't an animal, William. It's not a bear or wolf. It's like a storm, inside the body. Your mama's body was a tree. The storm came and the tree fell. But trees leave seeds. She pointed to his chest. In you, in Thomas, Rose, Grace, Eleanor. Your mama's love is the seed. Will the storm eat me? No. And I'll teach you how to be strong like an oak tree.
Storms can't break oaks. He thought about this. Would you go to the outhouse with me? Yes, every time you need me, until you're ready to go alone. He took her hand, small fingers wrapping around hers, another seed planted. Grace became Ayana's shadow. She followed her everywhere, kitchen, bedroom, barn, everywhere. The child asked constant questions. Why you smell different? Different from what? Mama smelled like flowers. You smell like trees. Sage, it's medicine, keeps bad spirits away. Grace nodded as if this made perfect sense. Good. We got lots of bad spirits here. The wisdom of children cut straight to truth. What bad spirits? Sad ones. Papa's sad. Thomas is sad. Rose is sad. Even the house is sad. You're very smart, Grace. I know. Can I learn to make the smell? Ayana taught her to bundle dried sage, showed her how to burn it, the smoke rising and spreading. We use smoke to clean the air, clean away sadness. Does it work? Sometimes. If you believe it will. I believe. They smudged the house together. Grace laughed for the first time in months. The sound was like bells. Sunday came. Gideon announced at breakfast that they were going to church. All of them. Thomas looked up in surprise. We haven't gone since Mama died. We're going now. Ayana met his eyes across the table. Will they accept me? Doesn't matter if they do. You're my wife legally. They'll have to look at you whether they like it or not. It was the first time he'd called her wife. The children noticed. Ayana noticed. Something shifted in the air. They dressed in Sunday clothes. The children's were mostly outgrown. Ayana had only 2 dresses and wore the better one, though she'd mended it 3 times. She hid the Apache beadwork under her collar. Gideon wore an old suit that was tight in the shoulders. He shaved for the first time in weeks. The family of 7 climbed into the wagon. The ride to town took 90 minutes. As they approached Willow Springs, people stopped on the street and stared. Thomas whispered, "Everyone's looking." "Let them look," Ayana said. "We've done nothing wrong." Gideon glanced at her. "Stay close to me. Don't engage if they provoke. I won't start trouble, but I won't run from it either." At the church steps, 3 women waited. The one in the center was clearly in charge. Martha Prescott was 50, well-dressed in expensive clothes that spoke of money and position. Her face was severe. She stood blocking the church door deliberately. "Gideon Thornwood," she said, "this is unseemly." Gideon removed his hat. "Mrs. Prescott?" "Bringing a squaw to God's house." Ayana stepped forward. Her voice was calm, level. "I'm baptized Catholic, Mrs. Prescott. San Javier del Bac Mission, Tucson, 1867. Father Rodriguez presiding. Are you baptized?" Shocked silence spread through the watching crowd. Reverend Parker appeared in the doorway. He was 40, nervous, a man who wanted peace more than he wanted righteousness. "Mrs. Thornwood is legally married. The church welcomes all souls." "The law may allow miscegenation," Martha said, "but decency—" Parker found his spine. "Mrs. Prescott, Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Shall I continue?" Martha had no response. Gideon stepped beside Ayanna. His hand settled on her lower back, possessive, protective. "Mrs. Prescott, my wife saved my daughter Eleanor's life 4 nights ago. Willow bark for teething pain. What have you done for my family in the 2 years since Margaret died?" Silence. "That's what I thought. Excuse us." He walked past Martha into the church. The crowd parted like water. Inside, whispers filled the air, not even trying to be quiet. The Thornwood family sat in the front pew, Margaret's traditional spot. A bold statement. Gideon sat at one end,
Ayanna beside him. Thomas came next, stiff and reluctant. Then Rose, William, Grace. Eleanor in Ayanna's arms. Grace climbed into Ayanna's lap without hesitation. Rose leaned against her shoulder, unconscious, seeking of comfort. William held her hand. Thomas sat separate, but he sat with them. That mattered. Reverend Parker's sermon was deliberate. He chose the parable of the Good Samaritan, a foreigner showing mercy when neighbors wouldn't. "We call ourselves Christians," Parker said. "We say we follow Christ's teachings. But when a stranger comes among us, how do we respond?" He looked directly at Martha Prescott. "Do we show Christ's love or the Pharisees' judgment?" Some people shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded quietly. After the service, a woman approached. Ruth Patterson was 52, plain dressed, with kind eyes and work-hardened hands. She owned the general store, widow for 10 years. "Mrs. Thornwood," she said, "I heard about Eleanor." "Willow bark treatment?" "Yes, ma'am." Ruth lowered her voice. "My mother used similar remedies. She was Cheyenne. Most in town don't know." Understanding passed between them. "Thank you for telling me. You're not alone here. Remember that." The town doctor approached next. Dr. Morrison was 60, Scottish, gruff. "Mrs. Thornwood, I hear you treated the Thornwood baby." "Yes." "Willow bark, Salix alba, salicylic acid compound. Sound medical practice." "My grandmother taught me." "Your grandmother knew medicine. I'd like to discuss your methods sometime, professionally." It was respect, from a man who didn't give it easily. But not everyone was welcoming. Sheriff Thompson stood at the back of the church, 55, former Confederate cavalry. He watched Ayanna with assessment. Not hostility exactly, but not friendship either. He tipped his hat to Gideon, but didn't speak to Ayanna. And Martha Prescott stood with 2 other wealthy wives and several ranchers, talking loud enough to be heard. "It's not natural." "What about the children?" "Indians can't be trusted." Gideon steered his family to the wagon. He ignored them completely. That was its own kind of power. On the ride home, the children were quiet, processing what they'd seen, what they'd heard. "Why do they hate her?" Thomas asked, finally. Gideon kept his eyes on the road. "They don't hate her. They fear her. Fear makes people cruel." Rose spoke. Her voice was a whisper, rare as rain. "I'm not afraid of her." Ayanna looked at the girl in surprise. "Thank you, Rose." That evening, a man came to the ranch. Clayton Prescott, Martha's husband. Banker, land speculator. 55 years old and well-fed in a territory where most people were lean. His clothes were expensive. His eyes were cold and calculating. "Gideon," he said from horseback, "heard you brought home a wife." "News travels." causing talk in town, uncomfortable talk. My wife, my business.
Not when it affects property values. Not when it agitates tensions with the tribes. Gideon's voice went flat. She's one woman, not a tribe. Clayton smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Your loan, $800 due April 1st. I'm aware. I'll have it. Cattle prices are down. Spring roundup might not cover it. He paused. Just saying, if circumstances became difficult, I'd be willing to buy you out. Fair price. Not selling. Think about it, before circumstances get worse. The threat was clear as daylight. Clayton rode off. Ayanna had been watching from the window. She came out to the porch. He wants the land. He's wanted it for years. I've always refused. And now I'm his excuse to pressure you. Gideon looked at her, really looked at her. I can leave, she said. Make it easier. His answer was immediate, sharp. No. Why? You barely know me. Because I don't cave to bullies. Never have. Won't start now. That night, after the children were asleep, Gideon and Ayanna stood on the porch. The stars were out, cold and brilliant. Their breath showed white in the freezing air. I'm sorry, he said, for how they treated you. I've been treated worse. I'm Apache in white territory. I expected this. That doesn't make it right. No, but it makes it survivable. Silence settled between them. Comfortable, almost. Two people learning to exist in the same space. Clayton will make this harder, Gideon said. Use you as excuse. I know. I meant what I said. I won't ask you to leave. And I won't offer. Not yet. Good. In the distance, riders appeared on the ridgeline, torches visible against the night sky. Not attacking, just watching, waiting. They're not going away, Ayanna said. No, they're not. Gideon went inside, came back with 2 rifles. He handed one to Ayanna. You know how to shoot? My father taught me. I'm Apache. Of course I know. This time his smile was real. Small, but real. Good. Keep this close. The next morning, they found the fence cut. 3 cattle missing. A message carved into a fence post with a knife. Leave. Thomas saw it first. His face went pale. What does it mean? Gideon studied the cut fence, the tracks, multiple horses, at least 5 riders. It means war has begun. Ayanna stood beside him. The wind moved through her hair. Her hand rested on the rifle Gideon had given her. She wasn't afraid. Apache women knew about war. Then we prepare, she said. Gideon nodded. For the first time since Margaret died, he didn't feel alone in the fight. This strange Apache woman who'd come in chains was standing beside him, ready to defend what they were building, whatever that was becoming. In town, Clayton Prescott sat in his bank office. He'd been to every ranch within 20 miles, stirring fear, spreading lies. Indians were coming. Property values would fall. Decent people were in danger. Some believed him. Enough believed him. And those who didn't believe were afraid to speak against him. But Martha Prescott sat in her parlor that night and thought about the Apache woman who'd saved a baby with willow bark. She thought about her own son James, dead 3 years from fever, dead despite everything the white doctor tried. And she began to wonder if her husband was right about anything at all. The seed of doubt, once planted, grows in its own time, even in frozen ground, even in winter, especially in winter, when spring seems impossible and anything that survives must be strong. At Silver Creek Ranch, Grace fell asleep in Ayanna's lap while she sang Apache songs.
William asked Ayana to walk him to the outhouse and didn't cry when she said he was brave. Rose sat beside her at the piano, and their hands almost touched. Thomas stood in the barn doorway and watched his father and Ayana talking quietly on the porch. Not touching, but standing close.
Closer than strangers. And he didn't know whether to be angry or relieved that his father seemed less dead than before. 1 week. Ayana had been at Silver Creek Ranch for 1 week. The children were eating regularly. The house was clean. Eleanor slept through the night. Rose had spoken 3 times. Small victories. But in the depth of Montana winter, small victories were everything. And far away in Arizona, Nayland stood under the winter stars and spoke to the grandmother spirits, asking them to protect her daughter, asking them to give Ayana strength for what was coming. Because the grandmother spirits knew what Nayland knew. The hard part hadn't even started yet. The Blackfeet call it White Death, a blizzard that descends from the mountains like the breath of ancient spirits, burying the world in silence and snow. The old-timers of Montana knew when it was coming. The animals knew. The land knew. On January 17, 1879, it came to Silver Creek Ranch.
And when it trapped the Thornwood family, white rancher, Apache bride, and 5 grieving children in a house together for 5 days, it would either forge them into something unbreakable or destroy what little remained. Ezra arrived at the main house before dawn. Snow was already falling, light but steady. His face was grim, frost forming in his beard, eyes worried in a way that made Gideon set down his coffee cup immediately. "Boss, barometer dropped overnight. Temperature's fallen fast. This ain't regular snow." "How bad?" "Bad as 64. Maybe worse. Animals feel it. Horses spooked. Cattle bunching. We got maybe 4-5 hours before it hits full." Gideon shifted instantly. The cavalry captain he'd been before grief hollowed him out. "Get the men ready." Orders came rapid and precise. "Thomas, help Ezra move cattle to near pasture, close to barn. William, Grace, every piece of firewood in the yard, stack it on porch, now. Ezra, string rope from house to barn. Lifeline. All livestock to shelter. Board up north windows. Fill every barrel with water before well freezes." Ayana watched the organized chaos, then inserted herself. "What can I do?" Gideon stopped, looked at her. First time he'd asked her opinion on ranch work. "Food. We might be trapped 3-4 days, maybe more. Make sure we can survive it. I'll need inventory." "Take it. Whatever you need." In the pantry, Ayana counted. Salted pork, 30 pounds. Flour, 1½ sacks. Beans, dried, 15 pounds. Coffee, plenty. Lard, salt, adequate. But limited canned goods. 8 jars of tomatoes. 4 of peaches. Small bag of dried apples. 10 pounds of jerky. No fresh vegetables. Winter had none. Not enough grain for livestock if this lasted longer than expected. She calculated. Family of 7 plus Ezra. Possibly 5 days. Tight but manageable if rationed. She spoke to herself in Apache. "We'll survive." Barely. Thomas found her counting supplies. "Papa hasn't kept up since Mama got sick. Then after she died, he just stopped caring about this stuff." "Then we make do with what we have." He hesitated. First time he'd asked her for anything. "You said Apache survived with less. Can you teach me? How to survive when there's not enough?" Breakthrough. The boy was asking for help. "Yes. First lesson. Waste nothing. Even bones make broth. Even scraps feed chickens who lay eggs. Second lesson? Stay calm. Panic wastes energy. Energy is survival. Thomas nodded, processed. I'll help you ration. Outside, the wind was picking up, temperature dropping fast. Gideon and Ezra worked with military efficiency. Cattle herded close. 30 head driven to the near pasture where they could be fed during the storm. Horses secured in the barn. 6 horses, chickens moved inside too. The north-facing windows boarded over. Wind always came from north in Montana winter. Water barrels filled. The pump was already freezing.
100 feet of rope, strung from porch to barn door. Essential. In whiteout, you couldn't see 5 feet. The rope was life. Firewood stacked everywhere. Inside porch, hallway, kitchen. Enough for a week if they were careful. Inside, Ayanna organized children. Rose, pack away valuables from windows. Wind might break glass. Fold extra blankets. William, fill every pot and bucket with water. Grace, gather all quilts, blankets, pillows to main room. We'll sleep there, warmest space. Thomas outside helping the men. Eleanor in kitchen with Ayanna, playing with wooden spoon, unusually calm. Babies sensed storms. "Boss, last check," Ezra called. "Anything we forgot?" Gideon scanned everything. "Livestock fed for 2 days?" "Yes, sir." "Medical supplies?" Ayanna answered. "I have what I have. It'll have to do." "Guns loaded?" "Why guns?" Ayanna asked. "Wolves get desperate in blizzards. Come close to houses. Sometimes inside, if they can." She nodded. Understood.
At noon, the storm hit. The wind shifted from whistle to roar. Like a freight train bearing down, the house shuddered. Windows rattled in their frames. The world outside erased in seconds. The barn, visible one moment, gone the next. Only white. Ground and sky indistinguishable. Temperature plummeted, from 20 degrees at noon to -5 by 1 o'clock. Cold so intense it felt like knives on exposed skin. When you breathed, the air burned your lungs, tasted like ice and copper. Inside the main room, the family gathered. The fireplace roared. Gideon fed it constantly, burning through wood faster than expected. Children huddled together on the floor near the hearth. The smell of pine smoke thick. Wet wool from damp clothes. Bodies crowded together. Not unpleasant, just human. Outside, wind screamed, relentless, no pause. The house creaked under pressure. Frost formed on the inside of windows, despite the fire. Children's faces illuminated gold and shadow by lamplight. They were conserving oil. Didn't know how long this would last. Gideon counted people. "Everyone here?" The children answered yes. Ayanna, yes. Then silence. "Ezra?" Thomas spoke up. "He went to check the north fence. Said he'd be right back." Gideon looked at the window. Complete whiteout. His face drained of color. Damn it! Damn it! He grabbed coat, scarf, gloves, rifle. "I'm going after him." Ayanna stood. "You can't see 10 feet out there." "He's my responsibility. I sent him out." Thomas, terrified. "Papa, you'll die. You can't even see the barn." Gideon gripped his son's shoulder. "You're man of the house while I'm gone. Protect your family." "Papa, please." Ayanna stepped between Gideon and the door, physically blocked him. "No." His voice went dangerously quiet. "Excuse me? You go out there blind with guilt and rage, you die. Ezra dies. Then what happens to these children? To me? I can't leave him. I didn't say leave him. I said don't go alone. And don't go stupid."
Anger and desperation warred on his face. "Then what do you suggest?" "I suggest you use your brain, soldier, and let me help." She explained. Apache tracked in sandstorms, wind, darkness, no visibility. Same principle for snow. Method was simple but required discipline. Rope tied to porch, already there. Follow fence line by touch. Hands on posts. Wind direction constant. From north, use it as compass. 2 people. One manages rope, one searches. Both tied together. If one falls, other holds. "Have you done this before?" Gideon asked. "No, but I learned from people who survived it. Trust me or don't. Ezra freezes while you decide." Gideon looked at her, really saw her for the first time. Warrior, recognized warrior. "All right, your way." To Thomas. "Watch the children. We're bringing Ezra home. If we're not back in an hour, you're the man here. Understand?" Thomas was crying, but he nodded. "Yes, sir." They bundled in layers, coats, double scarves, gloves. Goggles from Gideon's cavalry days. Rope tied to porch rail, then around both their waists, 6 feet apart. Ayanna wrapped her face Apache style. Scarf covering everything but eyes. Desert survival adapted for snow. "If we get separated," Gideon started, "we don't separate. Separation is death. Stay on the rope. If I fall, I'll drag you back. Move." The door opened. Wind ripped it from Gideon's hand, slammed it against the wall. They stepped into hell. Hit like a fist. Wind, physical force. Knocked Ayanna back a step. Instant disorientation. Couldn't see the porch they'd just left. Couldn't see ground. Only white. Sound was roaring so loud they couldn't hear each other even shouting. Cold penetrated every layer instantly. Felt like drowning in ice water. Ayanna led. Her method. Her responsibility. Hand on fence post. Wood rough under glove. Count 3 seconds. Step to next post. Approximately 8 feet. Hand on next post. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Gideon behind, managing rope, preventing tangles, watching her back. North fence was 200 yards from house. 200 yards felt like 2 miles. Time dilated. Each step an eternity. 15 minutes to reach the equipment shed felt like an hour. The fence ended at a 3-sided shed. No Ezra visible. Gideon shouted over wind, barely audible. "He's not here!" Ayanna stopped, centered herself despite chaos. Apache technique. Close eyes, feel the environment. Wind from north, constant. Shed open to south. Shelters from wind. Ezra would seek shelter on south side. Survival instinct. She pointed. "There! South wall!" They found him collapsed against the shed's south wall, partially buried in snow. Conscious but hypothermic. Violent shivering. Good sign. Body still fighting. Speech slurred. "Couldn't make it back." Gideon dropped to his knees. "You stubborn old fool. I told you to come back before it hit." "Learned stubborn from you, boss." Skin blue, white, especially fingers and face. Eyes unfocused. Confusion setting in. They had to move fast. Gideon lifted Ezra. Fireman's carry. 180 pounds of dead weight. Ayanna led back, following rope hand over hand. Complications immediately. Rope caught on fence post. Ayanna freed it with numb fingers. Gideon stumbled in drift. All 3 almost fell. Ayanna held rope, kept them upright.
Wind intensified. Peak of storm. Visibility absolute zero. Ayana whispered in Apache, for herself, not for them. "Grandmother, guide my hands. Mother, give me strength. I will not fail these men." 50 yards back took 25 minutes. Hell compressed into eternity. Porch light appeared, barely visible until 10 feet away. Thomas opened door. He'd been watching, terrified. Children behind him. Rose crying silently. William and Grace clutching each other. Eleanor wailing. They dragged Ezra inside. Gideon collapsed against wall, gasping, frost in beard, hands shaking. Ayana moved immediately. No rest. "Thomas, blankets. William, hot water on stove now. Grace, Rose, move back, give us room." She knew hypothermia. Grandmother had taught her. Do not apply direct heat. Fire or hot water on skin causes shock, heart failure. Warm slowly. Core first. Chest, belly, extremities last. She and Gideon stripped Ezra. Wet clothes were death. Cut them off. Faster. Wrapped him in dry blankets. 3 layers. "Get under the blankets with him," Ayana commanded. "Skin to skin if necessary." "What?" "Body heat is fastest, safe way to warm him. Your body temperature will raise his. My people survived mountain winters this way. Do it." Gideon stripped to undershirt, got under blankets with Ezra, held him, Ayana on other side, providing warmth. This was how Apache hunters survived. Share heat. She wrapped warm stones from hearth in cloth, placed at Ezra's core, chest, belly, between thighs, major arteries, not too hot. Warm blood slowly. Sage tea with willow bark, spooned into Ezra's mouth. He could barely swallow. "Drink, old man. You survived cavalry charges. You'll survive this." Children watched, learning, amazed. "Is he going to die?" Thomas asked. "Not if I can prevent it," Rose whispered. "You're like Mama. She healed people too." Ayana looked at her in surprise. "Your mother was a healer?" Gideon answered. "She tried, tended sick neighbors, didn't have your training, but she cared." "Then I'll honor her by saving him." 3 hours passed. The family waited together. Hour 1, shivering lessened. Color began returning to lips. Hour 2, speech cleared. He could drink on his own. Feeling returned to extremities. Painful. He groaned. Hour 3, fully conscious, weak but alive. First words when lucid. "Did that Apache woman just save my worthless hide?" "Yes," Ayana said. "Well, I'll be damned. Reckon I owe you my life now." "Yes, you do." Ezra looked at Gideon. Weak smile. "Boss, she's a keeper. Don't let her go." Gideon looked at Ayana. Something deeper stirring. "I don't intend to." That night, the storm still raged. Would last 5 days total. Family slept in main room. Only warm space. Mattresses brought downstairs. Children near fire. Ezra on couch, recovering. Gideon in chair, first watch, tending fire. Ayana in other chair, couldn't sleep. Adrenaline still high. 2 in the morning, both awake. Children sleeping. Ezra snoring softly. Gideon spoke quietly. "You saved him. Saved me, too. I'd have gone alone. Died out there. You would have tried. Maybe survived. But yes, probably died. Where did you learn all that? Tracking in storms. Hypothermia treatment." "My grandmother. Medicine woman for our band. Apache winters in mountains are harsh. She taught survival. Your father allowed it? My father understood that knowledge keeps people alive. He didn't care if it came from books or from my grandmother's teachings. He said wisdom has no color. He sounds like a good man. He was. He married an Apache woman when everyone told him it would ruin his trading business. It didn't. It saved his life more than once. Silence. The parallel understood, but not spoken. I'm beginning to understand why, Gideon said. The storm continued. Day 2. Gideon dug path to barn using rope lifeline. Took 90 minutes for 100 feet. Fed animals. One cow dead from cold, others surviving. Returned half-frozen each time. Ayana waiting. Hot coffee, dry clothes, towels for his hair. Unspoken partnership forming. Children adapted. Thomas took responsibility, helped with barn runs, split firewood inside. Rose became quiet caretaker, watched younger ones, fetched water. William kept fire supplied with kindling. Still scared, but useful. Grace entertained, told stories, made them laugh. Eleanor surprisingly calm, sensing adults' competence. Ayana rationed food, system strict. Oatmeal for breakfast, small portions, coffee for adults. Broth from bones for lunch.
Cornbread. Dinner was stew, mostly beans, small amount of meat. Dried apples. Thomas noticed. We eating less than usual? We're eating smart. Storm might last longer than expected. Better to ration now than starve later. He nodded, understanding. Mama would have panicked. I'm not your mama. I plan. Day 3. Deepest cold. Storytelling night. Children bored, restless, scared. Ayana offered stories, Apache creation tales, how Raven brought light, how Coyote learned to survive winter, how first people learned fire. Children riveted, even Thomas listening. Were the Apache really as fierce in battle as people say? He asked. They defended families and land. Wouldn't you fight if someone tried to take your home? Thomas thought. Yes, I would. Then they were exactly as fierce as they needed to be. No more, no less. Gideon shared too. Children asked about the war. He told about Shiloh, battle, chaos, survival. Edited for children, but honest about fear. You're brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing what needs doing anyway. He looked at Ayana when he said it. She nodded, understanding. Day 4. Hope appearing. Evening. Ayana cooking, humming Apache lullaby, had become habit. Children playing quietly near fire. Rose drawing with charcoal on slate. Suddenly Rose started humming along with Ayana. Everyone froze. Ayana kept humming, didn't break the moment. Rose's voice, soft, uncertain, but real. Song ended naturally. Rose spoke, full sentence, first in 2 years. That song makes me feel safe. Gideon dropped to knees, pulled Rose into hug, sobbing. Rosie. Oh God, Rosie. Rose crying too. One sentence became 2, then 3. Halting at first, like learning to walk again, but words coming. I was scared. I was so scared that if I talked, Mama would be gone forever. But she's already gone, and I'm still here. Ayana knelt, joined embrace. Your mama is still here, little bird. She's in you, in your voice, in your songs. Every time you speak, she speaks through you. Family pile. All children joined. Even Thomas, even Eleanor toddling over, crying and laughing and whole. Ezra from couch, well, I'll be damned. Miracles do happen. That night, after children slept, Gideon spoke to Ayanna. You did that. You brought her back. No, Rose brought herself back. She just needed to feel safe enough. You made her feel safe. We did. Together. First use of we as unit. Something fundamental shifting. Day 5. Morning. Silence. After 5 days of constant wind, silence was eerie. Sun broke through clouds. World transformed. Buried. Glittering white. Snow 6 feet in drifts. 3 to 4 feet level ground. Temperature still -10, but rising. Gideon and Ezra surveyed damage. 1 cow dead. North fence buried completely. Would need rebuild. Barn roof sagging, but intact. But everyone alive. Animals mostly alive. House intact. Could have been worse, Gideon said.
Could have been dead without her, Ezra replied. I know.
That evening, simple celebration. Ayanna made feast from rations. Remaining pork, beans, last dried apples baked into pie. Children loud, happy, alive. Thomas laughed. First real laugh since Margaret. Rose sang during meal. Blessing taught by Ayanna. Apache and Christian mixed. William declared Ayanna best cook ever. Grace announced Ayanna was her real mama now. Gideon said nothing, but watched Ayanna with his children. Something profound shifting inside him. Night. After children asleep, Gideon and Ayanna on porch. First time outside in 5 days. Stars brilliant, cold crystal clear, air still, frozen, lungs burned with each breath, snow glittering under moonlight like diamonds. Gideon spoke first. I need to tell you something. All right? When Margaret died, part of me died too. The part that felt, that hoped, that lived. I kept breathing because children needed me, but I was just going through motions. What's changed? These past 2 weeks, since you came, something's changed. I feel again. I don't want to, it's terrifying, but I do. What are you saying, Gideon? He turned to face her. I'm saying I'm falling in love with you. I didn't plan it, didn't want it. Felt like betraying Margaret. But I am, and I can't stop it. Ayanna's response came quiet, honest. I came here to survive, to save my family by sacrificing myself. I was prepared to endure, to serve, to exist. I wasn't prepared to belong. I wasn't prepared to love these children. I wasn't prepared to love you. But do you love me? Yes. God help me. Yes. Slow approach. Both hesitant. Gideon gentle, asking permission. Ayanna accepted. Deepened. Cold air. Warm breath. Taste of coffee and hope. Smell of pine and sage. Pulled apart. Foreheads touching. This is real, Gideon said. Yes. I won't hide you. Won't be ashamed. Good, because I won't hide either. Promise made. When spring comes, I want to marry you again. Not because of contract, because I choose you. We're already married. Not the way I want. I want vows, in church, in front of everyone. I want them all to know I choose you.
Even when it cost you? Especially then. Morning came. Ezra on patrol, checking fences. Returned, grim-faced. "Boss, you need to see this." West fence, cut deliberately. Not storm damage. 6 cattle missing. Wandered through cut fence. Stolen or dead. Tracks. Multiple horses. At least 5 riders. Came during storm's final day. Message carved into fence post with knife. Last warning. Leave. Gideon's fury was cold. Not hot rage. Colder. More dangerous. "They came on my land, during a blizzard, threatened my family." "What do we do?" Ezra asked. "We go to town. We end this." Ayanna spoke. "They want confrontation. Don't give them what they want. They stole from me, threatened my wife. And if you ride in angry, you play into their hands. Think like soldier, not like victim." He stopped, listened. "What do you suggest?" "We go to town, but not to fight, to show we're not afraid. We go to church. We live our lives. We dare them to act publicly." Ezra nodded. "She's right, boss. Force them into open. Can't lynch what everyone's watching." The war had begun. But this time Gideon Thornwood wasn't alone in the fight. 5 days. That's how long the blizzard held Silver Creek Ranch in its grip. 5 days of darkness at noon, wind that screamed like the damned, cold that froze water in cups by the fire. 5 days when a family of strangers, white man, Apache woman, 5 broken children, couldn't escape each other. They could fight. They could freeze each other out. Or they could become what they'd never been before, a family. Outside the storm raged. Inside, something harder than survival was happening, something called healing. The days after the blizzard passed in careful routine. Ayanna rose before dawn, built fire, made coffee, cooked breakfast. Children woke to warmth and food. Small miracles that had become expected. Expected was good. Expected meant normal. Normal meant healing. Thomas worked with Ezra and Gideon, repairing fences, digging out drifts, counting livestock, learning ranch work the way his father had learned it, hard and honest and without shortcuts. The boy was growing, not just taller, stronger in ways that mattered more than height. Rose helped Ayanna in the house, setting table, folding laundry. She spoke now, not constantly, but regularly. Her voice was soft, careful, like something precious she was learning to use again. She sang while she worked. Apache songs mixed with hymns, creating something new from both. William gathered eggs each morning. Still wanted company for the outhouse, but went without crying now. He'd started asking Ayanna to teach him Apache words. Learning a second language gave him pride, made him feel special. Grace shadowed Ayanna everywhere. Constant questions, constant chatter. The opposite of Rose's quiet. But both were healing, just different methods, different speeds. Eleanor toddled around, getting into everything. Happy, healthy. The baby who'd screamed for months now laughed more than she cried. She called Ayanna Mama without confusion, called Gideon Papa. The other children were simply hers, her family. Uncomplicated by grief, she was too young to remember. But outside the ranch, darkness gathered. January 23rd, Sunday, returned to town. The whole family dressed for church, cleaned, presentable. Gideon armed, rifle in wagon, pistol on belt. Visible. Statement of readiness. Ayanna wore Apache beadwork openly now. No more hiding. The turquoise bracelet from her grandmother on her wrist. Let them see what she was. All of what she was. Children nervous, but together. They'd heard the whispers last time. Knew what waited.
But they climbed into wagon anyway, because their father asked, and because Ayanna made them feel brave. Roads barely passable. Snow drifted across. Town digging out from storm. Everyone outside working. Everyone stopped to stare when Thornwood wagon rolled down Main Street. At church, Clayton Prescott waited. Not alone. 8 men with him. Ranch hands, hired muscle. Men paid to intimidate. Sheriff Thompson present too, neutral observer, watching, calculating. Martha Prescott stood behind Clayton, face unreadable. Complicit or controlled, hard to tell. Clayton spoke loud, for his men, for witnesses. "Thornwood, surprised you'd show your face." "Why? I live here. I have rights." "Rights come with responsibilities, to community." "I meet my responsibilities, pay debts, keep land, raise children." "You brought danger to this community." Ayanna stepped forward. "I'm one woman. How am I dangerous?" Clayton sneered. "Your people killed settlers, burned ranches. You could be scout for war parties." "I'm half Apache, half white, raised in mission school, baptized Christian, never harmed anyone." "But your blood." "My blood is same as yours, Mr. Prescott. Red, human. Do you bleed different?" Crowd murmured. Some sympathetic, some uncertain. Division visible. Gideon's voice cut through. "Clayton, everyone here knows what this is about. It's not about Ayanna being Apache. It's about you wanting my land." "That's slander." "Is it? You hold my banknote, offered to buy me out 3 times in 2 years, spread rumors to drive down my standing so I can't get credit elsewhere. Now you use my wife as excuse." Sheriff Thompson stepped forward. "Is this true, Clayton?" "Business is business. Business ain't forming armed mobs." Support materialized. Ruth Patterson stepped forward, stood beside Ayanna. Physical statement. "This woman saved Ezra Hawkins during that storm. Used medicine that works. She's no threat." Dr. Morrison added his voice. "Her medical knowledge is sound. Saved lives. That's what matters." Reverend Parker spoke from church steps. "The church welcomes all souls. Mrs. Thornwood has every right to worship here. Scripture is clear. Judge not." But opposition remained. Several ranchers muttered, worried about property values, about precedent, about change. Townswomen followed Martha's lead, or what they thought was her lead. Hired guns stood ready, paid to create trouble if ordered. One of Clayton's men moved hand toward gun. Sheriff Thompson was faster, stepped between groups. "Nobody draws in front of church. I'll arrest first man who tries." Clayton's face reddened. "This isn't over." Gideon's voice went cold, dangerous. "Actually, it is. You've got no legal ground. My marriage is legal. My land is mine. And if you or your men come on my property again, I'll treat you as rustlers. Montana law says I can shoot rustlers on sight. Don't test me." Silence. Thick. Tense. Breakable. Then Clayton turned, walked away. His men followed, some reluctant, some relieved. Fight avoided. For now. Church service proceeded. Tension thick enough to choke on. Thornwood's in front pew. Statement of defiance, of belonging. Reverend Parker preached on loving thy neighbor, looked directly at certain congregation members. Message clear. After service, interactions revealed the split. Ruth, Morrison, Parker greeted Ayanna warmly. A few others offered quiet nods, but many avoided eye contact, hurried past. Fear of association, fear of Clayton's retribution. Town was divided, not unified against her, but not unified for her either. Dangerous middle ground. Ride home was quiet, children processing, understanding that their world was complicated, that some people would hate Ayanna simply for existing. Hard lesson. Necessary lesson. Why do they hate her? William asked. Gideon kept eyes on the road. They don't hate her. They fear her. Fear makes people cruel. But she's nice. Nice doesn't matter to scared people. Thomas spoke up. Will they hurt us? Honest answer. They might try. That's why we prepare. Back at ranch, preparation began in earnest. Gideon applied cavalry experience. Defensive positions identified. Main house, second floor windows. High ground. Sightlines clear. Barn loft for Ezra. Sharp's rifle. Long range. 500 yards if needed. Root cellar for women and children if attacked. Evacuation route planned. Horses kept saddled. Path to Ruth's house memorized. Weapons distributed. Gideon, Winchester repeater and Colt revolver. Ezra, Sharp's rifle and shotgun. Thomas, single-shot rifle. Taught to shoot properly by Ayanna. Apache women knew guns, knew survival. She was better teacher than Gideon expected. Ayanna received Spencer carbine, lighter, easier handling. Plus knife. Always carried knife, Apache habit. Children's protocol drilled. At first sign of trouble, root cellar. Rose in charge. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. Wait for all clear. Perimeter secured. Fences repaired. Broken sections fixed. Reinforced. Sightlines cleared. Brush cut back 100 yards, all directions. Could see riders coming. Signal system established. Bell on porch. Specific rings for different threats. Water stored inside, in case of siege. Food already rationed. Could last 2 weeks if necessary. Longer if desperate. Training daily. Thomas improving. Hands steady. Eyes sharp. Learning to breathe. To aim. To squeeze, not pull. Don't shoot unless you have to, Ayanna told him. But if you have to, make it count. Fear in his eyes. What if I have to kill someone? Gideon answered honest. Then you live with it, like I do, but you survive. Survival matters more than comfort. Thomas nodded, trying to be brave, trying to be man, still just 9 years old. January 29th, Ruth Patterson visited, brought supplies, beans, flour, coffee. In case you're stuck here a while. Warning came with kindness. Clayton's been to every ranch within 20 miles, stirring them up. Says Ayanna's the start of Indian uprising. How many believe him? Some, enough. But others asking questions. Why's he so desperate to get rid of one woman? Ayanna understood. Because I'm excuse, not reason. Exactly. Sheriff Thompson knows it too. He's watching Clayton close. Night brought another visitor, Dr. Morrison. After dark. Didn't want to be seen. Reputation at stake. But conscience mattered more. Mrs. Thornwood, I owe you apology. For what? For not speaking louder at church. For letting fear of Clayton keep me quiet. I'm doctor. I took oath. First, do no harm. You've done more healing in 2 weeks than I've done in 2 years. You don't owe me anything. If fighting starts,
I'll treat your wounded. Publicly. Damn the consequences. Gideon shook his hand. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just survive. This valley needs what you're building here. January 30th brought shock.
Martha Prescott. Alone. No husband. Face drawn. Older than her 50 years. She asked to speak with Ayanna. Private. They sat in kitchen, coffee between them. Barrier and bridge, both.
I need to tell you something, Martha said. I'm listening. I had son, James. He was 10 when fever took him, 3 years ago. Dr. Morrison tried everything. Nothing worked. I watched him die, slow. Ayanna waited. Let her speak. When I heard you saved Eleanor with willow bark, I was angry. Why could you save child when white doctor couldn't save mine? I understand that anger. But it wasn't fair to you. You're not responsible for my grief. And Clayton, he's not doing this for community. He wants your land. He's using my grief and your heritage to get it. Martha's hands shook. I won't help him any more. She pushed bundle across table. Baby clothes, lovingly preserved. These were James's. I want Eleanor to have them, if you'll accept. Ayanna's eyes filled. I'll treasure them.
And I'll tell her they came from Mother, who loved her son. Martha cried then. Years of grief pouring out. Ayanna held her. Let her break. Let her heal. 2 mothers, 2 losses, 2 kinds of survival. Alliance shifted. Martha's defection weakened Clayton significantly. Town would notice, would talk, would reconsider. February 1st, dawn, 6:30 in morning. Ezra in barn loft, standing watch. Saw dust on horizon, rang bell. 3 short, 2 long, riders approaching, many. Family mobilized, practiced drill, children to root cellar. Rose holding Eleanor, William and Grace following. Thomas to upstairs window, rifle loaded, hands shaking but steady. Ayanna to front porch, carbine ready. Gideon beside her, Winchester. Ezra in barn loft, sharps. 20 riders, spread in loose semicircle, stopped at 100 yards, rifle range. Deliberate positioning. Clayton Prescott leading, center position. 12 hired guns, ranch hands, drifters, men paid for this. 6 local ranchers. Neighbors convinced by Clayton's lies. 1 deputy, young, pressured, reluctant. Sheriff Thompson, notably absent. Interesting. Morning light behind riders. Sun rising. Hard to see faces clearly. Deliberate. Breath steaming from horses and men. Temperature 10 degrees. Weapons visible across saddles. Not aimed, but ready. Silence heavy. Weight of presence. Clayton spoke first, loud, for his men. Thornwood, time to talk sense. State your business, Clayton, then leave my land. You know why we're here. Indian woman goes. Today. Final offer. She's my wife. She stays. You leave. Final answer. There's 20 of us. 3 of you. Maybe 4 if you count the boy. Gideon's voice stayed level. I count different. There's 1 of me who fought at Shiloh. 1 Apache woman who survived what you can't imagine. 1 veteran cavalry scout. And 1 boy brave enough to stand with his father. That's 4 who'll die before we break. How many of your hired hands you willing to bury? Murmurs among riders. Doubt spreading. 1 ranch hand spoke low. You didn't say nothing about fighting cavalry, Captain. Shut up, Clayton hissed. Another rancher. Clayton, maybe we should... We're here. We finish this.
Ayanna stepped forward. Gideon tried to stop her. She ignored him. Walked to edge of porch, visible, vulnerable, brave. "Mr. Prescott, you don't want me gone because I'm Apache. You want this land. You've wanted it for years. You're using fear of my people to steal from white man. That makes you worse than anything you accuse me of." She addressed the other men. "How many of you actually believe I'm dangerous?" Silence. "How many are here because Clayton paid you or promised you something?" Several men shifted in saddles, uncomfortable. "I'm one woman. I cook, I clean, I raise children, I heal sick. I saved Ezra Hawkins during Blizzard. He was cavalry, fought Apache. Now he stands with me."
I brought Rose Thornwood back from 2 years of silence. She speaks again, because I gave her safety. What have I done to deserve being driven from my home? Older ranch hands spoke up, weathered face, seen too much. "She's got point, Clayton. What exactly has she done wrong?" "She's Indian. That's enough. My wife's half Shoshone. Nobody's trying to run her out." Revelation shocked others. Hypocrisy exposed. Cracks in Clayton's support widening. Then hoofbeats. Different direction, from town road. Sheriff Thompson riding hard. Not alone. With him, Reverend Parker, Dr. Morrison, Ruth Patterson, 6 townsmen, armed and deputized. Rode between 2 groups. Cut off confrontation. "Everyone stand down," Thompson commanded. To Clayton, "What the hell you think you're doing?" "Protecting community from what? Woman who's broken no laws?" "I checked territorial code. Montana has no anti-miscegenation statute. Her marriage is legal. What you're doing is form an armed mob." "That's illegal. I can arrest every man here." Clayton, desperate now. "She's threat. Indians are what? 500 miles away on reservations? This woman is one person, and I've got 6 witnesses who'll testify you've been harassing Thornwoods for months." Thompson produced documents, including 3 separate complaints about cut fences, stolen cattle, threatening messages. That's trespassing, rustling, intimidation. You want to talk about crimes? Let's talk about yours. Support came then. Public, loud. Ruth Patterson. "I'm part Cheyenne. Hid it 30 years. Ayanna gave me courage to stop hiding. She's done more good for this town in 2 weeks than most of us do in years." Dr. Morrison. "She saved man's life with techniques I didn't know. Her medical knowledge is legitimate and valuable. I've asked her to work with me. This community needs her skills." Reverend Parker. "Christ said, 'Judge not, lest ye be judged.' We've judged this woman based on fear, not facts. Her faith is genuine. Her actions are Christian. What more do we require?" Then Martha Prescott stepped forward. From watching crowd, not with Clayton, against him. "My husband is wrong. This isn't about protecting anyone. It's about greed." Clayton spun. "Martha, shut your—" "No, I won't be silent while you use my grief to justify theft." To crowd. "Ayanna Thornwood offered me kindness when I offered her cruelty. She's better Christian than I've been, and I won't stand with thieves and liars any more." She walked, stood beside Thornwoods. Physical statement, undeniable. Clayton's face went purple. "You stupid woman." Gideon's voice cut like a blade. "Careful, Clayton. That's still lady you're addressing."
Thompson issued ultimatum. Any man here who doesn't leave in 60 seconds gets arrested. Your choices: ride home or ride to jail. Decide. Ranch hands left first. Most hired guns not paid enough to fight law. Nothing personal, Clayton, but I ain't dying for this.
Within 2 minutes, 10 riders gone. Local ranchers followed. Ranch hand with Shoshone wife first.
I'm out. This was wrong from start. Others followed. Embarrassed. Relieved to have excuse. Within 5 minutes, only Clayton, 2 loyalists, reluctant deputy remained. Deputy spoke. Sheriff, I made mistake. Clayton said this was legal. It's not. Get back to town. We'll talk later. Deputy rode off. Grateful for escape. Clayton alone now. Desperate. Broken. This isn't over, Thornwood. Yeah, it is. I still hold your note. $800 due April. And I'll pay it. On time. Then you've got nothing. I'll find another way. Thompson's patience ended. No, you won't, because I'll be watching. One more threat, one more accident on Thornwood land, and I'll charge you with conspiracy. Now get off this property before I arrest you for trespassing. Clayton glared at Ayanna. Pure hatred. You think you've won, squaw? Ayanna's voice stayed calm, cold.
I don't think. I know. You lost the moment you let fear control you instead of using your brain. Clayton rode off. 2 loyalists following. Defeat complete. Humiliation total. Aftermath brought strange peace. Sheriff Thompson approached. Thornwood. Mrs. Thornwood. Sheriff, I want to be clear. I don't like this. Mixed marriages go against how I was raised. Ayanna met his eyes. Then why help us? Because I like mobs less. I like thieves less. And I like law. And because I watched how you handled those children at church, how they look at you. My wife died 6 years back. No children. I remember what mother's love looks like. You've got it. Color of your skin doesn't change that. He tipped hat, rode off. Not friend, but not enemy. Neutral respect. Enough. Martha stayed, asked to see children. They emerged from root cellar, scared but safe. She held Eleanor, cried. She's beautiful. They all are. Raise them well. Teach them both your cultures. Make them bridges. I will. I promise. Community support solidified. Ruth invited Ayanna to quilting circle. Morrison confirmed partnership. Equal pay. Equal respect. Parker confirmed church welcome. Always. Acceptance wasn't universal. Some still hostile. Some still fearful. But majority willing to coexist, willing to try. Progress. That evening, children in bed, Ezra in bunkhouse, privacy rare and precious, Gideon and Ayanna on porch, stars out, cold but still. Gideon knelt. Ayanna, Rivers, Thornwood. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Let me finish. We married for contract, for $300, for survival. I want to marry you again, for right reason, because I love you, because you're best thing that's happened to me and these children since Margaret died, because when I think about my future, you're in every part of it. He produced ring, plain gold band, worn smooth, delicate. This was my mother's. She wore it 40 years, died with it on her finger. My father gave it to me before he died. Said, give this to woman worth keeping. You're worth keeping, Ayanna. Worth fighting for.
worth everything. Will you marry me? Again? In front of God and everyone? Not because you have to, because you want to, because you choose me like I choose you. Ayana's answer came through tears, joy. I married you in my heart during that blizzard, when we brought Ezra back, when I realized you trusted me with your life. But yes, I'll marry you in front of everyone. I'll marry you in your church and in my traditions. I'll marry you so many times that no one can ever question it. Because I choose you, Gideon Thornwood, every day, forever. Kiss, sealed promise, deep, committed. Not just passion, partnership. Two people who chose each other against the world. From window, Thomas watching, smiling. They're gonna get married for real, Rosie. Rose beside him. They already are married. This just makes it official.
You think we're gonna be okay? Really okay? Yeah, I do. We're family now. Outside, stars wheeled overhead, indifferent to human drama. But on Silver Creek Ranch, something precious was growing. Something that would last longer than stars, longer than stone. Love. Chosen. Fought for. Won. In the Montana Territory of 1879, a man who defended an Apache woman against his own kind was called a traitor, a race mixer, a fool who'd thrown away his standing for savage flesh. Gideon Thornwood heard the whispers. He didn't care. He'd fought at Shiloh, watched men die for principles that mattered. This was another battle. Different enemy. Same stakes. Everything that mattered. And when he stood on his porch that frozen February morning with a rifle in his hands, an Apache woman beside him, and 5 children who'd learned that family isn't about blood, it's about who stands with you when hell comes calling. He knew he'd never been more ready for war. The week after the standoff passed in careful preparation. Gideon worked from cavalry experience, turning the ranch into defensible position, not fortress. That would require more men, more materials, more time than they had. But defendable, enough to give them advantage if Clayton's madness pushed him to violence. Second-floor windows became observation posts, clear sightlines in all directions. Could see riders coming from half-mile away. Ezra spent hours in barn loft, Sharp's rifle within reach, reading land, calculating distances. Old cavalry scout habits never died, just waited for need. Thomas drilled daily, not playing soldier, learning survival. Ayana taught him Apache method, breath control, steady hands, clear mind. Don't shoot angry, don't shoot scared. Shoot calm, shoot certain. What if I freeze? Thomas asked. Then you die, Ayana said bluntly. Or someone you love dies. Fear is natural. Freezing is choice. Choose better. Harsh teaching. Necessary teaching. Boy needed truth, not comfort. Gideon watched her train his son, saw Thomas respond to her directness, to her refusal to coddle. Margaret had been gentle, soft. It worked for peaceful times. Ayana was preparing Thomas for war. Different kind of mother. Exactly what they needed now. Food stores inventoried again. Water barrels full. Ammunition counted. Escape route rehearsed. Children knew the plan. At first sign of attack, root cellar. Rose responsible for Eleanor. William and Grace follow orders without question. Stay quiet, stay hidden. Wait for all clear, or for Ayana to come get them. What if you don't come? Grace asked.
child's wisdom seeing through adult pretense. Ayanna knelt, met her eyes. Then you wait until it's safe. Then you run to Mrs. Patterson's house in town. She'll take care of you. But what about you? I'll be fine. I'm Apache. We're hard to kill. She said it light, made Grace smile. But truth lived underneath. Apache survived. That's what they did. February 2nd, Sunday. Return to church. Whole family. Statement of defiance and normalcy, both. We belong here. We won't hide. We won't run. Town reaction shifted. Not uniform acceptance, but visible change. More nods. Fewer hostile stares. Martha Prescott's defection had impact. If Banker's wife could stand with Thornwoods, maybe they weren't pariahs. Maybe they were just family trying to survive. Clayton wasn't at church. Neither were his two remaining loyalists. Sheriff Thompson was, sitting in back pew, watching, making his presence known. Law was present, deterrent against violence. After service, community gathered outside. Small conversations, weather, cattle prices, spring planting, normal things, including Thornwoods in normal things. Progress measured in inches, but inches mattered. Ruth pulled Ayanna aside. Quilting circle meets Thursday, 2 o'clock. My house. You're expected. I'll be there. Good. We're making baby quilt. Heard you're expecting. Ayanna's hand went to belly. 4 months now, starting to show under layers. News travels. Always does, especially good news. Town needs good news, Dr. Morrison confirmed. Partnership starts next week. 3 mornings. Bring your medicine bundle. I want to learn what you know. Respect, professional and personal. Walls coming down. Not everywhere, not everyone, but enough. Ride home quiet, peaceful almost. Children chattering about service, about friends, about normal things. William announced he wanted to learn piano. Rose offered to teach him. Grace demanded to learn too. Even Thomas admitted church wasn't terrible. Normal, beautiful, dangerous normal. The kind that made you forget enemies still existed, still planned, still hated. February 5th, night. Family asleep. Gideon couldn't sleep. Old soldier habits. When things got quiet, that's when you worried. He stood watch on porch. 2 in morning, stars brilliant, cold absolute. Saw them before he heard them. Shadows moving on ridgeline. 3 riders, watching ranch, not attacking, just watching, calculating, planning. Gideon didn't move, didn't alert them that he'd seen them, just watched back, memorizing positions, estimating numbers, assessing threat. After 30 minutes, they rode off, but message was clear. We're still here. We're still coming. Question is, when? Next morning, Gideon told Ezra and Ayanna, not children, no need to scare them yet, but adults needed to know. Could be scouts, Ezra said, figuring best approach. Or intimidation, Ayanna added, reminding us they haven't forgotten. Either way, we're ready, Gideon said. But readiness was exhausting. Constant vigilance wore on soul, waiting for attack that might never come, or might come tomorrow. Impossible to maintain forever. February 10th. Breakthrough came from unexpected direction. Deputy who'd ridden with Clayton appeared at ranch. Alone, unarmed, hands visible, nervous but determined.
Mr. Thornwood, can we talk?
Gideon kept rifle ready. Talk. Name's Daniel Cooper. I'm 22. Been deputy 8 months. Clayton told me riding with him was legal, part of my job. I believed him. And now? Now I know better. Sheriff set me straight. I came to apologize and to warn you. Warn me about what? Clayton's not done. He's talking to men from other counties, hiring more guns. He's obsessed, lost his mind over this. Keeps saying he'll have that land if he has to burn you out. Gideon's jaw tightened. When? Don't know, but soon, before spring thaw, while roads are still hard to travel, harder for law to respond. Why tell me? Because it's wrong. I signed on to uphold law, not help land grab. And because that Apache woman, she didn't do nothing wrong. Don't deserve this. Ayanna appeared on the porch, had been listening. Thank you, Deputy Cooper. He nodded to her, respectful. Ma'am, I'm sorry for my part in it. You're making it right now. That matters. After he left, preparation intensified. Not paranoia, practical response to credible threat. Gideon sent word to Sheriff Thompson via Ruth. Thompson responded immediately, increased patrols, made his presence known. But he was one man, couldn't be everywhere. February 14th, Valentine's Day, though nobody marked it. Storm clouds gathering, not weather, human storm. Tension thick enough to taste. Evening, children doing lessons at table. Rose teaching William piano basics. Grace coloring. Thomas reading. Eleanor playing with wooden blocks. Normal domestic scene. Precious, because fragile. Gideon sat with Ayanna in kitchen. Rare moment of privacy. If this goes bad, he started. It won't. But if it does, promise me you'll take the children and run. Don't stay, don't fight. Just survive. She looked at him. Apache blood and white blood, both fierce in her eyes. I won't promise that. I'll fight beside you. That's what partners do. Ayanna. No, you don't get to decide I'm worth less than you. Worth protecting more than fighting. I'm Apache. We fight for family. You are my family now. He pulled her close, kissed her, deep and desperate. I love you. I love you too. That's why we'll both survive, because we have to. For them. She gestured to children, still innocent, still hopeful, still trusting adults to keep them safe. February 15th, morning. Storm broke. Not weather storm, human storm. Riders came at dawn, not 20 this time, 15, but different 15. Hardened men, hired killers from other territories. Not local ranchers having second thoughts. Professional violence. Clayton led them. Face twisted with madness. Obsession had consumed reason. He'd mortgaged everything for this. Reputation, marriage, sanity. All sacrificed to obsession with land he couldn't have. They stopped at property line, just beyond. Legal technicality. Hadn't trespassed yet. Clayton shouted, Thornwood, last chance. Sign over the deed and she lives. Refuse, and we burn you all out. Gideon stepped onto porch, rifle ready. Ezra in barn loft. Thomas at upstairs window. Ayanna beside Gideon, armed, ready. You're on the wrong side of sanity, Clayton. Ride away, while you still can. The land is mine. Should have been mine years ago. I'll have it. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. Clayton signaled. Men spread out, surrounding ranch, not attacking yet, positioning, professional, coordinated, dangerous. Then hoofbeats from town road. Sheriff Thompson, not alone. 10 men with him, Deputized townsmen, armed, determined. Ruth's husband had been in that group, died young. She rode too, only woman, but welcomed, accepted. Dr. Morrison rode, Reverend Parker, even Martha Prescott on horseback, unexpected, powerful. Thompson positioned his group between Clayton and Ranch. Barrier. Clayton Prescott, you're under arrest for conspiracy, attempted arson, harassment, and threatening behavior. You can't arrest me. I can and I am. Drop your weapons, all of you. Clayton's hired guns looked at each other, calculating. Hired for intimidation, not war with law. Sheriff had numbers now, had legal authority, had righteous cause. One by one, they dropped guns. Professional killers knew when contract was void. Clayton sat on horse, alone in madness. You're all fools. That Indian woman will destroy this town. Bring her people down on us. You'll see. Martha rode forward, faced her husband. The only thing destroying this town is you. Your greed, your hatred, your obsession. I'm filing for divorce. You've lost everything, Clayton. Accept it. Breakdown was complete. Clayton slumped in saddle, broken, defeated. Sheriff took him into custody. Hired guns escorted out of territory. Warning given. Don't return. Aftermath brought strange silence. Threat ended. Just like that. Not dramatic final battle. Just law prevailing. Community choosing right over fear. Thompson approached Thornwoods. It's over. Clayton will stand trial. Lose bank. Lose everything. You're safe now. Gideon shook his hand. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank them. He gestured to the townspeople who'd ridden out. They chose. Could have stayed home. Stayed safe. They chose to stand with you instead. Ruth came forward, embraced Ayanna. You're one of us now. For real. No more questions. Dr. Morrison nodded. Partnership stands. See you Monday. Reverend Parker smiled. Sunday dinner at church? Whole community invited. Celebrate peace. One by one, people came, offered support, offered friendship, offered acceptance earned through fire and proven through crisis. Even townspeople who'd been uncertain before. Seeing neighbors stand, seeing law prevail, seeing family that refused to break. Changed hearts, changed minds. Not everyone. Some would never accept. But enough, more than enough. That evening, after celebrating, after children asleep from exhaustion and relief and joy, Gideon and Ayanna sat on porch, familiar spot, familiar stars. But everything changed. Gideon knelt again. I asked you to marry me. Real wedding, church, everyone watching. I remember. I said yes. I want to do it soon. Don't want to wait. Almost lost you today. Almost lost everything. Don't want to waste time. When? April 20th. First warm Sunday of spring. New beginning. New life. What do you say? I say yes. Again and always yes. He slipped his mother's ring on her finger. Perfect fit. Like it was meant for her. Like everything had been meant. Contract that became choice. Survival that became love. Strangers who became family. From window, children watched. Thomas saw, smiled. Rare Thomas smile. Full and genuine. They're really doing it, Rose beside him. They really are. Good. We need this. Need them. Think it'll last? Yeah, I do. They fought too hard for it not to. Outside, winter stars wheeled, indifferent and eternal. But on Silver Creek Ranch, something equally eternal was born. love, fought for, earned, kept. And in town, Clayton Prescott sat in cell, alone with obsession that destroyed him. Warning to anyone who chose hate over hope, who chose greed over grace. Martha filed divorce papers next morning, reclaimed her maiden name, reclaimed her life, started over at 50. Brave in different way than Ayanna's bravery, but brave nonetheless. She visited ranch week later, asked Ayanna for forgiveness. "Nothing to forgive," Ayanna said. "You found your way. That's what matters. I was cruel to you. You were hurting. Hurt people hurt people. But healed people heal people. You're healing now. I see it." Martha cried. Ayanna held her. Two women on opposite sides of divide. Bridge between them built by shared pain and mutual grace. February ended. March came. Snow began melting. Rivers swollen with runoff. First grass appearing, green against brown. Promise of renewal. Promise of life. Ranch recovered. Fences repaired. Cattle counted. Losses minimal considering. Children thriving. Rose singing daily. William playing piano. Thomas growing into a young man. Grace chattering constantly. Eleanor, toddler chaos. Beautiful chaos. Ayanna's belly growing. 5 months now. Obvious. Baby moving. Felt under her hand. Life creating life. Circle continuing. Gideon watched her with children, with community, with him. Saw woman he loved, woman he chose, woman who chose him back. One evening, working together in barn, rare privacy, he spoke. "You know what amazes me?" "What?" "3 months ago, you were a stranger. Contract, $300, necessity. Now, you're everything. Can't imagine life without you. That's what happens when you choose, when you fight, when you commit. Strangers become family. Survival becomes life." "I'm glad I bought you." She laughed. Rare, full laugh. "Worst purchase ever. I'm expensive, high maintenance, opinionated. Best purchase ever. Worth every penny. Worth everything I have." He pulled her close, careful of belly, of precious cargo. Kissed her thoroughly. "April 20th, can't come fast enough." "Agreed, but it will come. We have time now. Have safety. Have future. We have everything. We have each other. That's everything." Outside, spring wind blew, carrying scent of sage and pine and earth waking, carrying promise of warmth returning, carrying hope. And on Silver Creek Ranch, family prepared for wedding, for baby, for life after survival, life after war, life after choosing, real life, hard and beautiful and worth every fight, worth $300, worth everything, worth choosing every day, forever. They say Montana springs wash away winter's cruelty with snowmelt and new grass. In the spring of 1879, Silver Creek Ranch came back to life in ways deeper than seasons. A half Apache woman, belly swelling with child, teaching her children both the Bible and the ways of her grandmother. A widower who'd forgotten how to smile, laughing again at his table. 5 children who'd been ghosts, now loud and alive and whole. And a community that learned, slowly, painfully, but truly, that family isn't built by blood. It's built by those who stand beside you when the storms come. This is how broken things heal. This is how love wins. March brought transformation, physical and spiritual both. Snow melted in earnest. Creek ran high and loud, silver over stones, hence the ranch name. First wildflowers appeared, tiny purple blooms pushing through dead grass, stubborn, determined, beautiful. Ayanna walked the property daily. Dr. Morrison said exercise was good for pregnancy. She walked not just for health, but for joy. This land was hers now, truly hers.
Not by contract, but by choice. By blood spilled and tears shed and love earned. Children walked with her sometimes, Grace chattering about everything and nothing, William practicing Apache words, Rose singing, voice growing stronger, Thomas quiet but present, Eleanor toddling, chasing butterflies, falling, laughing, getting up again. Normal. The kind of normal people dreamed about. The kind worth fighting for. Ranch repairs continued. Community helped. Not obligation, friendship. Men from town came on Saturdays, brought tools, brought skills, brought goodwill. Rebuilt north fence together, fixed barn roof, painted house trim, work that had languished during Gideon's grief now completed. Women came too. Ruth led quilting circle at ranch now instead of town, easier for Ayanna with pregnancy. Martha Prescott came, brought fabric, brought stories, brought laughter. Other women joined, slowly, carefully, but genuinely. They stitched baby quilt together, each woman contributing square, Anglo patterns and Apache patterns mixed, creating something new, something beautiful, something that honored both. "What will you name the baby?" Ruth asked. "Catherine Margaret, if it's girl," Ayanna said, "for Gideon's mother and first wife." Silence. Then Martha spoke. "That's generous, honoring her. She's part of this family's story, part of what made Gideon who he is. I don't erase her, I honor her." More silence. Then Ruth's voice, thick. "You're a good woman, Ayanna Thornwood." "I try, same as all of us." March gave way to April. Wedding preparations began. Simple ceremony but meaningful. Church ceremony for community. Apache ceremony for heritage. Both mattering. Both honored. Reverend Parker worked with Ayanna on vows, incorporating both Christian and Apache elements. "This is new for me," he admitted, "but beautiful, creating bridge between traditions." "That's what children will be," Ayanna said, hand on belly. "Bridges, walking in both worlds, making both better." "You really believe that?" "I have to. Otherwise, what's the point? If I just assimilate, I lose myself. If I just resist, I lose them. But if I bridge, I create something new, something stronger." Parker nodded, understanding. "You're wiser than your years." "I'm Apache. We learn young. Have to. Survival demands it." Gideon's preparation was different, practical, making sure ranch could run without him for honeymoon week. Ezra would manage. Thomas would help. Community would check in. Everything arranged. He bought new suit, first new clothes in 5 years. Black wool, well-tailored, expensive. Ruth helped him choose. "You're marrying that woman proper," she said. "Look the part." He also bought ring for Ayanna, beyond his mother's gold band. Silver ring with turquoise stone, Apache style. Had it made special by silversmith in Helena. Cost more than he should spend. Worth every penny. April 20th. First truly warm Sunday of spring. Sky brilliant blue. Temperature near 60. Flowers blooming. Perfect. Church decorated with wildflowers and sage.
scent mixing, sweet and sharp, beautiful contrast. Pews full. Whole town came, even people who'd been opposed, curiosity or acceptance, or both, but they came. Ayanna dressed in room at Ruth's house. The dress Ruth and Martha made together. White calico, traditional, but collar and cuffs covered in Apache beadwork. Blue and silver and red. Intricate. Beautiful. Honoring both heritages. Her hair in single braid down her back. Wildflowers woven in. Turquoise bracelet from grandmother on wrist. Medicine bundle small and hidden in pocket. Always carried. Always would. She was 6 months pregnant now. Belly obvious. Dress accommodated. No hiding. No shame. Life creating life. Beautiful and right. Martha helped her dress. Hands gentle. Eyes wet. You look beautiful. Thank you for everything. For this dress. For your friendship. For changing your mind about me. You made it easy. You loved when it was hard. Stood when it was dangerous. That changes hearts. Changed mine. They embraced. Unlikely friends, but real ones. At church, Gideon waited. Thomas beside him as best man. Boy wore new shirt, hair combed. Looking older than 9. Growing up fast. Too fast, maybe. But strong, capable, ready. Rose, William, Grace, Eleanor, all dressed up, holding flowers, excited, nervous, happy. Music started. Apache flute and church organ together. Ruth's idea. Another bridge. Ayanna walked down aisle. No father to give her away. She gave herself. Apache way. Woman choosing. Woman committing. Powerful. Gideon's face when he saw her. Love naked and obvious. No hiding. No restraint. Just joy. She reached him. Took his hand. Turned to face Reverend Parker together. Parker spoke. Dearly beloved, we gather to witness something rare and precious. 2 people married once by necessity, choosing to marry again by love. Gideon and Ayanna stood before this congregation months ago. Some welcomed them. Some did not. Today they stand again, not asking permission, declaring truth. He paused. Let words settle. Marriage is bridge. Between 2 people. Between 2 families. Between 2 ways of being. These 2 have built their bridge with courage, with commitment, with love that refuses to break. Vows came next. Gideon first, voice steady, strong. Ayanna, I bought you for $300. Murmurs in crowd. Shocking opening. Intentional. Stupidest thing I ever did. Because you're worth everything. Laughter. Relief. Understanding. You saved my children. You saved my soul. You taught me that love isn't about replacing what's lost. It's about building something new. You stood beside me when men came with guns. You healed when doctors couldn't. You brought light to a house full of darkness. Voice breaking now. Emotion raw. I vow to honor you, protect you, stand with you, learn from you. I vow to raise our child and these children in both your culture and mine. I vow to be worthy of the woman you are. For all my days, I choose you. Tears streaming down faces throughout church. Not just women, men too. Gideon Thornwood showing emotion. Unprecedented. Powerful. Ayana's turn, voice clear, carrying. Gideon, I came here to survive. You taught me to live. I was sold. You set me free. You gave me children when I thought I'd never have family again. You gave me home when I thought I'd always be wandering. She gripped his hands tighter. You stood with me when it cost you, when they called you traitor, when they threatened everything you'd built. You chose me over ease, over acceptance, over safety. Apache words next, then English translation. I vow to heal your wounds, to stand in your battles, to love you when it's hard. I vow to teach our children strength, honor, the best of both our peoples. Then Apache phrase, Shil Hojo, walk in beauty. With you, I do. For all my days, I choose you. Ring exchange. Gold band Gideon's mother wore 40 years. Ayana added her grandmother's turquoise stone to setting. 2 families, 2 histories, 1 love. Reverend Parker smiled. 2 cultures, 2 histories, 1 love, 1 family. I now pronounce you, again, husband and wife. You may kiss your bride, as if you needed permission. Kiss was not chaste, not appropriate for church maybe, but real, deep, committed, promise and passion both. Congregation applauded, some enthusiastic, some grudging, all present, all witnessing. Children rushed forward, group hug, family complete and whole and public. After ceremony, celebration at ranch, tables outside, first time weather allowed. Whole community came, food potluck style, mix of cultures, cornbread and fry bread, beef and venison, Anglo desserts and Apache dishes, everything together, everything welcome. Music played, fiddle and guitar and drums, dancing, children running, adults relaxing. Joy genuine and hard-won. Ezra gave toast. Known Gideon Thornwood 22 years. Cavalry days, war, frontier, loss. Never seen him happy till now, not even with Margaret. Different kind of happy. This is happiness of man who fought for what he's got, who earned it. Turned to Ayana. You're stubbornest, bravest woman I've met. Perfect match for this stubborn bastard. To the Thornwoods, may they never have peace, but may they always have love. Cheers, drinks raised, laughter. Ruth presented quilt, held it up, each square different pattern, Anglo, Apache, mixed designs. For baby, so they know where they come from, all of it, and that it's beautiful. Ayana cried, touched each square, recognized each woman's work, each gift of time and skill and acceptance. Thank you. This is treasure, family treasure. Dr. Morrison made announcement. Territorial Medical Board approved my request. Ayana Thornwood is now officially my partner. Licensed medical practitioner. First Apache woman in Montana Territory with medical license. Applause. Recognition of achievement, of skill, of worth beyond race or gender. Ayana stood, hand on belly, baby kicking, active, strong. Thank you all for coming, for standing with us, for choosing bridge over wall. You've given us more than acceptance. You've given us family, community, home. She paused, gathered thoughts. My people have saying, we are all related. Mitakuye Oyasin. Not just Apache, not just white. All of us. Related by humanity, by struggle, by hope. Today, you proved that. You are my people now, all of you. More tears, more applause, more embracing. As sun set, people departed. Promises to visit, promises to help with baby, promises of friendship that would last. Finally, family alone. Children exhausted, happy exhaustion. Put to bed with stories and songs and kisses. Gideon and Ayanna sat on porch. Married. Again. Really married. Chosen married. Forever married.
Yours was perfect, Ayanna said. You were perfect. We were perfect. Together. He pulled her close, careful of belly, of precious cargo. How you feeling, baby? Active, strong, healthy. Due in 3 months, July. You scared? Little bit, but ready. You? Terrified, but ready. They sat in comfortable silence, stars appearing. First stars of married night, real married night. Thank you, Gideon said. For what? For saying yes to contract, for coming here, for staying when it got hard, for loving my children, for loving me. Thank you for seeing me, for fighting for me, for choosing me, for giving me life worth living. We gave each other that. Yes, we did. They went inside, to bed, to marriage bed. No longer contract, no longer duty, just love, just choice, just them. 3 months passed. Summer arrived hot and full. Ranch thrived, cattle healthy, crops growing, children growing faster. Thomas almost looked like teenager. Rose's voice, beautiful and strong. William reading fluently. Grace starting letters. Eleanor talking in sentences. Ayanna worked clinic 3 mornings weekly. Patients steady. Word spread. Apache woman who knew medicine, who healed, who cared. People came from neighboring valleys. Some traveled days. All treated. All helped. All charged fair price or nothing if they couldn't pay. Morrison watched her work, learned from her, incorporated Apache techniques into his practice. Better doctor for it. Admitted it freely. You've taught me more in 3 months than medical school taught in 3 years. Different knowledge, both valuable. Together, better. Partnership. True partnership. Equal and respectful. July 10th, early morning. Ayanna woke Gideon. It's time. No panic, just fact. Baby coming, ready or not. Gideon moved quickly, got Ruth, got Morrison, got everything needed. Water, cloth, blankets, prepared. Children sent to Ezra. He'd take them to town, keep them safe and distracted. This was adult time, woman time, birth time. Labor progressed steadily. Ayanna used Apache techniques, breathing, positioning, herbs for pain. Ruth assisted, experience with Cheyenne births. Morrison observed, learned, deferred to women who knew. You're doing perfectly, Ruth said. Apache women don't scream.
Ayana managed. "We endure." "You can scream if you want. I won't judge." "I know, but I won't." Hours passed, pain intense but manageable. Gideon held her hand, refused to leave. "I'm here. I'm here." "I know. Don't let go." Never. Complication came. Baby slow to descend. Not dangerous yet, but concerning. Morrison suggested intervention. Ayana refused. "Apache way. Ruth, help me up." Squatting position. Gravity assisting. Traditional method. Morrison watched, fascinated. "I'll be damned. It's working." Minutes later, baby crowned. Final pushes. Intense. Overwhelming. Then, release. Baby emerged, crying, loud, healthy, immediate. "It's girl," Morrison announced. "Strong lungs." Gideon sobbed. "Girl, we have daughter." Baby cleaned, wrapped, placed on Ayana's chest. Dark hair like Ayana. Gray eyes like Gideon. Copper skin. Perfect blend. Perfect bridge. "She's beautiful," Ayana whispered, "just like her mother." They named her Catherine Margaret Thornwood, honoring grandmothers, honoring Margaret. Apache name, Kiona. Brown Hills, strong and enduring. Secret name, family name, bridge name. Children met sister that evening, brought back from town, excited, nervous, awed. Thomas held her carefully. "She's so small." "She'll grow," Gideon said, "like you did." Rose sang to her. Lullaby Ayana taught. Apache and English mixed. Catherine quieted, listened, knew her sister's voice already. William disappointed. Wanted brother. "Sisters are better," Grace declared. "I win." Eleanor touched baby's hand. "Mine too. My baby." "All of ours," Ayana said. "Family baby." That night, baby sleeping, children sleeping, house quiet. Gideon held Ayana, careful, gentle, grateful beyond words. "Thank you. For her. For everything. Thank you for giving me family. For giving me home. For giving me life." "We gave each other everything." "Yes, we did." Summer faded. Fall came. Baby growing. Children thriving. Ranch prospering. Life continuing. And then years passed. Not written, but lived. Not dramatic, but real. Catherine grew, walked, talked, learned both languages, both cultures. True bridge. More children came. 2 more. Son named John Samuel, after Ayana's father and brother. Daughter named Naylan Ruth, after grandmother and friend. 5 children born to Gideon and Ayana, plus 5 children inherited. 10 total. Loud, chaotic, beautiful. Thomas grew to man, took over ranch eventually, married, had children of his own. Rose became music teacher, traveled, taught both Anglo and Apache songs, never married, devoted to family and art. William became lawyer, fought for Indigenous rights, made difference. Grace married neighboring rancher, had large family, continued legacy. Eleanor became teacher, gentle like first Margaret, strong like Ayana, both. Catherine became doctor, like Morrison, like her mother. First female doctor of mixed heritage in Montana. Pioneered integrative medicine. Combined Anglo and Apache healing. Changed lives. changed profession. And Ayanna and Gideon grew old together, watched children grow, watched grandchildren arrive, watched legacy spread. Ayanna died September 1925, 66 years old, pneumonia, quick, peaceful, surrounded by family. Last words in Apache. Gideon didn't speak Apache well, but he understood. I love you. I choose you. Forever. He held her as she passed, whispered back, I love you. I chose you. Forever. Buried her on hilltop overlooking valley. Apache ceremony and Christian ceremony both. Honoring her. Gideon survived 3 more years.
86 when he died. February 14, 1929. Valentine's Day. Romantic and fitting. Died in sleep, peacefully. Children and grandchildren nearby. Last entry in journal, simple. Going to find Ayanna. See you all again someday. Love each other. Choose each other. That's what matters. Buried beside Ayanna. Stones touching. Together in death as in life. On his stone, cavalry captain, rancher, husband, father. He chose love over fear. On hers, Ayanna Rivers Thornwood, Apache healer, devoted mother, bridge between worlds. She taught us that love sees no color, only courage. Years later, decades later. Winter 1928, year before Gideon died. Christmas Eve, family tradition. Old Gideon in rocking chair, white hair, lined face, sharp eyes still. Wrapped in quilt Ruth made 50 years before. Worn but treasured. Grandchildren gathered, 19 total. Great-grandchildren too. 5 babies and toddlers. Noise. Chaos. Love. Among the gathered family sat 2 special guests. Samuel Rivers, now 64, had come from Arizona with his wife and children. He'd kept his promise, come to Montana when he was old enough, stayed, became part of the family, worked the ranch alongside Thomas for 30 years. Kaya Rivers Martinez, 61, traveled from New Mexico with her family. She'd married a rancher. Taught her children the winter stars in Apache, the same stars Ayanna showed her that last night in Tucson. Both siblings had watched their sister transform a territory, had seen her prove that Apache blood wasn't weakness, was strength, was bridge. Samuel sat beside Gideon's chair, hand on the old man's shoulder. She saved us all, boss. Not just you. All of us. Gideon nodded, eyes wet. I know. I know. Youngest grandson asked, Grandpa, tell us about Grandma Ayanna. Which story? How you met, and the blizzard, and the bad men. Gideon smiled, always ready for this story. All right, sit down. Close. This is good one. He told story. Condensed but true. $300. Contract. Apache bride. Blizzard. Rescue. Love. War. Community. Choice. Children riveted. Even ones who'd heard it before. Story never got old. People were really mean to her just because she was Apache? Granddaughter asked. Yes. People fear what's different. Fear makes them cruel. But you weren't scared? Oh, I was terrified. But not of her. Of how much I needed her. Rose added her part. 77 now, but voice still beautiful. Mama Ayanna saved me.
gave me my voice back. She was magic. Not magic, Gideon corrected gently. Love. Love is stronger than magic. Catherine spoke. Doctor, mother, bridge. Papa, you and Mama changed this valley, changed everything. We just lived, loved, refused to hide. You made it safe for people like me, mixed, not fitting one box. Your mother did that. She was brave, braver than anyone. That night, family asleep, Gideon, alone by fire,
Looked at photograph. Wedding day, 1879. Ayana, smiling. Him, solemn, young, hopeful. Touched her face through glass. Miss you, my love. Every day, every minute. Saw Apache symbol carved into mantle. Ayana did it years ago. Hidden gift. Bird with healed wing flying strong. Below it, Gideon carved later. Shu Hojo. She walked in beauty. He whispered into darkness. To her. To memory. To love that transcends death. They said Apache woman couldn't survive in white world. They were right. You didn't survive. You transformed it. You transformed me. Thank you for everything. See you soon. He closed eyes, smiled, waited for spring, for reunion, for forever. And on hilltop, wind moved through grass, carried scent of sage, carried whispers of those who came before, carried promise that love, real love, chosen love, fought for love, never dies. It changes form, changes shape, but never dies. $300 bought survival. Love bought everything else. And in the end, love won. Always. Forever. Home.